Hello, fellow adventurers, and welcome to the Mysterious Adventures Podcast. I'm your host, Paladino Joey, or Joey Awajan. Mysterious Adventures is available on all of your favorite podcasting apps. I thank each and every one of you once and always for downloading and listening to the show. It is a great pleasure to be back on board with you once again today. A just absolutely gorgeous time of year. It's the month of May. It's my favorite time of the year, so it's like... beautiful. Got the fire pit out, and it just there's just nothing like it. Love it when the rain stops, the sun starts shining, the plants the plants are blooming, and it's just nothing like it. So if you happen to live in the northern part of the United States, I mean, you probably know what I'm talking about this time of year. Maybe if you live in the southern part, it's it started a while ago. But either way. It's May and all of that, so that's kind of one of the reasons why maybe there's been a little delay with the recording of the show, because I have a second job. It is a lawn service, so it's been a little bit of a it's been a little bit difficult getting to the show and getting to things. But finally, we're going to have something here. Also, the fact I had to work on the other podcasts the past weekend, the past couple weekends, honestly. So the NFL draft and all of that. So I know at the end of the day, this show is pretty much as fun as it gets, and it's about as exciting to get behind the mic and talk about mysterious adventures. So on this particular episode, this is a show where it's coming from freedom of thought previously, because this topic I think is something that a lot of people are going to be interested in, but on freedom of thought, it just was not reaching the target audience. It just wasn't reaching the target audience whatsoever. So freedom of thought tends to be a more political show. I've talked about that in the past and all of that. Some of you may agree with the politics of that show. Some may not. It's up to you. But that's kind of the whole point. Whereas Mysterious Adventures has its own vibe. It has its target audience and such. And the topics that I brought to freedom of thought in the past, sometimes, like at least the last year plus or so, when I was attempting to rebrand the show, just weren't reaching the target audience. So it took a brand new type of show called Mysterious Adventures to finally reach the target audience. And in this case, it would be alien abductions and conversations about that and what could really be going on with all of that. So really, that's what the topic for this episode is: alien abductions, what's really going on. And I come up with a big three of three different type of aliens that have been talked about, because on a repeated basis. I'll save that for the actual episode, but you'll understand more and more probably. Hopefully this will help you understand a little bit more of what's actually going on out there. So yeah, with that said, I'm going to hand it off to that particular part of the Freedom of Thought episode and wrap things up afterward. So some of the lists of sightings that, encounters, people have had over the years. There's a couple of weird ones, but then there's the big three. So a couple of weird ones: Flatwoods Monster. It's out there. Tall humanoid with a spade-shaped head. Okay, maybe that's, who knows? I mean, that's another thing. It could also be, again, another principality or something out there that's not good. Hopkinsville Goblin, small greenish silver humanoids. All right, that's really interesting. Little green men. That's something you kind of think of a stereotype, like Martians or something.
Yes, we are from Mars. Yes.
That'd be from, of course, Looney Tunes, Marvin the Martian. Diminutive green humanoids, even though a few abductions have referred to green skin. Yeah, green skin. Yes, that's leading towards something else. No report has ever involved anything that would fit the classic cultural stereotype of little green men. They are included here only for cultural reference.
Yes, exactly.
We'll get to the big three very shortly. Then you get these other really crazy ones. Crazy, but actually this absolutely, I think, is tied to very likely the demonic realm. Demonic, not demonic, or even what they call chimeras, which is like, again, you know how a Nephilim or Rephaim giants, stuff like that. It's the angel was a fallen angel was the father, and a human woman was the mother, that kind of thing, and that's how you get these giants. A chimera is when the fallen angel gets with an animal type of creature. Well, yeah, gets with an animal to form like literally a monster. You know, like say like a gargoyle, that could be a chimera, that type of thing. But yeah, like a gargoyle, yeah, that's another conversation we're going to get to in a little bit. And again, more likely demons are tied more to this type of stuff versus like say fallen angels. Fallen angels are above the demons, yeah, and they're very powerful and very evil. They are the small g's, if you know what I mean, the small g gods like Ra, and you know, you could go on for a while. Even some of them might have been Nephilim, even below the fallen angels. But yeah, like the Ra, the Zeus, all those creatures, Aphrodite, they're 99% chance they're fallen angels. Yeah, it's like they're real, but they're not good. They're not God. So, crypto animals, cryptozoological animals, the Mothman. Yeah, that could be for another paranormal type episode on my side of things. Nudge, nudge. The Mothman. Yeah. Yep, see, also American folklore. So we will talk about the Mothman at a later date. But let me tell you, that is one scary looking something. Very scary. Jersey Devil. You know the hockey team, the New Jersey Devils? It came from something. So apparently that's some kind of a cryptoid thing out there that is probably a chimera type of a creature, if it's real, and it probably is, unfortunately. Loch Ness Monster, Nessie. You know, it's like it's a dinosaur type of sea monster. Loch Ness Monster, fascinating thing, but again, it's more than likely a chimera giant as well. These are giant creatures. They're giants. They're giants, but like it's an animal with the angel type of thing. And that's where some of these myths come from. You know, like a sphinx and such. A lot of these myths are real. They just, yeah, they're isolated, but they're real. African Nomo, interesting. Mokele Membi, that sounds African to me. Yokai, that sounds more like Hawaii. I don't know. Yokai, that looks like whoa. Well, it's like a monster. It's like some kind of monster with a weapon. One-eyed creature is one of them too, like a cyclops, but it's an animal. It's a monster. You know, it's hard to even explain. This Membe looks more like a dinosaur. Loch Ness Monster. Yep, that's a long kind of. It's not like no, it's not like Leviathan, which is more kind of like a huge sea serpent type thing. The Loch Ness Monster is closer to being a dinosaur. I don't know what the heck. That's a real weird one. Wow, that's weird. Aztec mythology, the Quinmetzin. Okay, this is via Wikipedia, just to kind of have as a cheat sheet, but it's very, very useful information at the very least for conversation. Populated the world during the previous era of the Son of Rain. What the heck? So, yes, again, and it's a small g type of thing. So, yes, punished by the small g gods because they did not, gods, it's small g, they did not venerate them. Very weird. Weird stuff. Raphael, that sounds like a Rephaim giant. Yes, and it is. Yes, yep, those are Rephaim giants. That's a person, more of like a giant. Giant during the, you know, it's like a Nephilim, maybe like a later stage where they weren't as tall, but they were still very much giants. Like King Og was, what, 12 feet tall? He's real. He's in the Bible. King Og, yes. He had a bed that was 15 feet long. Yeah, he was a 12-foot giant. He was a king, and he was defeated in the Joshua era, I do believe. You have Deuteronomy. Loveland Frogman. What the? Ohio folklore. The Loveland Frog. A legendary humanoid frog described. Okay, so that's an interesting one. Okay, man, they just go on forever. Orion. Okay, well that's part of that's a weird. Now we'll get off that for a minute. Okay, the big three. Apologize. Well, there's one more. Draconian. Yeah, that's kind of a scary thing as well. Okay, the big three. Reptilians or reptilioids. Real. They're real. And they are, a lot of them are actually in hell. Remember the story that people have had multiple stories of lizard man, people like that. they're in hell. They're like they're kind of like, well, they're part of the beings that torment and harass people that are in hell, basically. But apparently also they're part of this UFO abduction nonsense as well. But I wouldn't doubt that they've been taking people down there, like in a dark place, so to speak. Reptilians, they're part of that. Tall, scaly humanoids. Some are tall, some are not, by the way. Tall, scaly humanoids, reptilian humanoid beings date back to at least as far as ancient Egypt, with the crocodile-headed river small g god Sobek. The reptilian conspiracy theory has been advocated by David Icke. Okay, he's been on Alex Jones a million times. Yeah, and, well, they are real. People that have had, visions of hell and such, they were brought down there, that out-of-body experiences. They were brought down there. They experienced the reptilians. That's real. That gets the green check mark. Absolutely real. The other one, of course, gray aliens. Now, how many people have seen gray aliens? I'm not raising my hand because I've not. That's probably a good thing. It'd be scary. They're small, but I also wouldn't doubt that they might be part of this whole little people thing. People talk about little people, though maybe not all of it. They're more humanoids than gray is. But gray-skinned, like the most stereotypical alien setting there is, grays. Gray-skinned, sometimes green-skinned, see? Yeah. Humanoids, usually 1 meter, so about, in between 3 and 4 feet tall. Hairless, large heads, black almond-shaped eyes, nostrils without a nose, slits for mouths, no ears, and 3 or 4 fingers, including a thumb. Greys have been the predominant extraterrestrial beings of alleged alien contact since the 60s. So even like E.T. technically would be kind of like a gray alien. That's basically what he is, like a shorter thing with that, funny shaped head, bigger eyes, and just a few, like 3 or 4 fingers, whatever, that type of deal, including the thumb. So that's kind of what E.T. was. And yes, they've been sighted. But I think they're also part of possibly ancient civilization pre-Adamic. And they're unfortunately, they're unfortunately more than likely working with Lucifer. More than likely, they could be, again, a huge part of things. Maybe they are just aliens, but I honestly believe that they are part of a race that was here pre-Adamic, and that they're kind of like the demons now. They're kind of like basically what demons are now. Because they're kind of in between heaven and hell, that kind of thing. And they are, it's... They were wiped out in the gap. So they call it a theory, the gap theory, from God created the heavens and the earth became formless and void. And then many years later, that's my strong belief that there was a pre-Adamic civilization that was destroyed with the fall of Lucifer. And I do believe that the Greys and the lizard men type creatures were a part of that. Absolutely, I do believe that. That's my personal belief, and it's up to you what you believe. But that's kind of where I stand when it comes to this conversation. Not saying I'm right, not saying that that anybody else that disagrees is wrong, but the fact that these have been cited more and more and more times, I do think there's something to it. Plus the fact that there's been all types of just sighting after sighting after sighting. What's it called? Like it looked like a giant Tic Tac shaped UFO. The flying saucers, that type of deal. I've seen something definitely that would classify as a UFO. Absolutely, and it does. And I saw it first. The first time I saw it was in, I believe it was November. I think it was November, 2023. A bright light in the sky, dark, starry night, beautiful night, beautiful fall night, very bright light suddenly in the sky, and then it just disappeared. And then it reappeared somewhere else, a little bit further away, really bright, and then it gradually kind of faded away, disappeared again. And then a really, really, really bright light. Again, this is like, and it would be like in a different spot over and over again. It would be in a very irregular pattern. You know how a plane moves on it moves on a line. A satellite moves on an orbit, which is also a line. This was doing none of that. And I was like, okay, what was that? And my mom said, oh, that's just a plane. You just saw, the light was just kind of shining right at you. Because, when a plane, the front lights, sometimes when they shine on you, it's insanely bright. but it kept happening from different angles and different spots in the sky. I'm not crazy, okay? I'm not crazy. It kept happening. Because you know why I'm not crazy? You know why I'm not crazy? Spring of 2024, my nephews and I think it was either April or May this past year, we were having a fire outside, my favorite thing to do practically on a Saturday night. Fire pit outside. In this case, at my parents' house, so it's the same area. I haven't seen it just a few miles away where I also live in Golden Valley, Minnesota. Closer to Highway 100, I guess you could say, but I don't know. They're both close to 100. I'm just further north. So, what am I trying to say? Yeah, we were having the fire, and what happened? It happened again. Because I had told them about the previous UFO type thing, and they didn't really respond. It was a text. I'm like, what did I see in the sky? That was the darndest thing. No response. But then they were like, yeah, that's interesting, blah, blah, blah. You know, like later on when we talked later on, because we did play poker at times in the winter when you can't have a fire pit outside. It happened again. And I said, see, guys, I'm not crazy. I had the biggest smile on my face. Look at that. And they're like, wow, that is crazy. It's real. Yep. So they're my witness at the very least. I have two witnesses at the very least about UFO type stuff. Could that even be related to this weird drone thing? Droid. I keep calling them droids. They are drones. They're not droids. They're not the droids you're looking for. Okay, sorry. It's real. They saw it. I saw it. It was doing the same weird, irregular pattern. Bright as heck. And then it would just kind of fade away. Like, okay, fade to black, slowly but surely. And then it would reappear somewhere else. No pattern. Very irregular. I'm telling you, and I did talk about this on a previous show when I was like, I think that was in the springtime. But I'm connecting it to all of this. Because now the feature presentation of this whole, you know, what do they call that? Again, like an interaction type of deal, encounters. I think this is our feature presentation, folks. Nordic aliens. Humanoids with stereotypical Nordic features, tall, blonde, blue eyes, and which have featured in several cases of contact. Sometimes called Space Brothers. Plejaran, previously known as Pleiadians, like the Pleiades, you know, those beautiful blue stars you see in the autumn that last during the course of winter. They move further and further west in the sky. That's kind of how the seasons work. Like, say, you know, Capella starts appearing in the northeastern sky at the very end of August and kind of really starts becoming, you can see it more in September, you know, in the western sky as it gets to be like 9, 10 o'clock at night. And then it gets further and further gradually to the west by much later, like springtime. That star lasts most of the year. In fact, you don't really see it in like the typical evening, like 10 o'clock anymore after just in the months of pretty much June, July, and August. Otherwise, that's a very that's a pretty predominant star. It stays in the sky a lot of the times, where other stars might last just 2 or 3 months. Like Spica doesn't last very long. That's a blue star that appears in the southern sky, starts in the east. Did I say northwestern sky? Yeah, northeastern sky. But it moves further and further west as the season progresses. You know, because that's just how it is. Again, to me, further proof that the Earth is round. Not everybody has to agree with me. I do believe the Earth is round. I am not a flat earther. Again, I will read this again. Humanoids. This is Nordic aliens. Humanoids with stereotypical Nordic features. Tall, blonde, blue eyes. Fallen angels. Fallen angels. I'm telling you, these are fallen angels. Should I say 1,000% convinced? I'm pretty close. Tall, blonde, blue-eyed. Those are fallen angels, folks. I don't think they're good angels. No, I mean maybe some of them might be good angels, but I'd say most of them are not. I don't think they're good. And I also strongly believe, this is what got me to a point of, there's a passage in the Bible that says there'll be a day when we see Lucifer for the first time, Satan for the first time. All of us, people here that have been on earth, we lived our life and we're up there and it's like the end times, all the tribulations happening. We'll see him for the first time and we'll say, is that who tormented us? because I think everybody's thinking of this big giant gargoyle, right? Big giant gargoyle, minotaur monster, right? With horns and he's breathing fire or whatever. He's a huge dragon, a red dragon, and we're gonna see this beautiful angel because he's still a beautiful angel. He's not good, but he's not a gargoyle. He's still like a Nordic, tall. Yeah, that's my belief. That's my belief right here. And when you hear about Nordic aliens, those are angels, whether they're good or bad. Again, I believe that they're fallen angels. Because not every fallen angel is necessarily going to be a big, super powerful thing. But some of those big giant watchers and such that were maybe more powerful, like, generals, colonels, whatever the heck, underneath Lucifer in the dateless past, became these small g gods. The Ra and Zeus and all those creatures, all those monsters, like are unfortunately worshipped by, some people in like Greece and wherever else. And a lot of people believe, obviously, well, like the whole, like Hercules being the son of Zeus. Yeah, Hercules is a Nephilim. Think about it. Powerful, superhuman being. Hercules was real too. Think about it. In an ancient time, men of renown. You don't think Hercules is a man of renown? Doesn't mean he's good. He was a Nephilim giant. Nephilim giant in probably way, way back ancient Greece. It's fascinating stuff. Absolutely crazy. And we're going to get deeper into that in future episodes. But, it's just this whole alien conversation puts me into perspective of what's, in a lot of ways, what's really going on. It's deception. Is there a very likely possibility that there are other races out in the universe? Of course. But right now, I don't think that's what people are encountering. I don't think we can travel far enough. I don't think we personally, humans, have the technology for that. And I don't think God is, I don't think God's open to them visiting this planet right now. That type of thing. And maybe they don't have the technology. Some do, some don't. I don't know. But do you know what kind of technology it takes to go from, like, say, the Pleiades or something to come here? I mean, I don't either. I don't either. It's far beyond my comprehension. You pretty much have to be God, that type of thing. Now, of course, Steve, these beings, like Nordic aliens, which I believe are fallen angels, and some might be good angels. I don't know. Be very careful. Test them. Don't just listen to what they say, because they might say, "Oh, we created you." That means it's the devil for sure. It's the devil. It's a devil. It's someone working under the devil, a lieutenant or whatever under the devil. Be careful. Space Brothers. Super Mario Brothers? I don't know. But yep, tall whites. Agarthians from Agartha. Okay, what's Agartha? That's another conversation here. Agartha is a legendary kingdom that is said to be located on the inner surface of the earth. Really? Interesting. It is sometimes related to the belief in a hollow earth. Oh man, look at this. See? And is a popular subject in esotericism, occultism, and the New Age. The concept was introduced by Louis Jacoliot in his 1873 book, Los Fils, I can't read it, doggone it, Los Fils Dieu, and was expanded by authors and such. So, yes, by other authors. Or fallen angels. Fallen angels. I mean, see, it's just, to me, it all comes together. It's fallen angels. Yep, Nordic aliens almost certainly are fallen angels. And again, be very careful if you ever do have an encounter with something like that. They're incredibly powerful, we know that. But the good news is, what's the best news? What's the good news? God gave us more power. Yes. You know why? In the name of Jesus, I bind you spirits. I bind you evil spirits trying to take control of me. They can't. In the name of Jesus, that type of thing. So there is that. And especially with these small little things that try to harass you. That would probably be something like a gray or the little green men type of, which is the gray basically is the little green men. It's the same thing. So it's like they put that there like it's just kind of part of the conversation. But, well, to me, that's the grays. Maybe they even wrote it, like, sometimes green. So, That's what it is. The Greys and the Little Green Men are the same thing. Same thing. Same thing. At the end of the day. So that's kind of the stereotypical alien that people talk about, and they've been seen by so many people. Me not included. I've not seen a Nordic, and I have not seen a lizard man or anything like that. You know, those lizard reptiloids, reptilians and reptiloids. I've not seen those. No, but those more than likely are, well, no, they're generally in Hades, hell, whatever. They're not in a good place. At the end of the day, it's interesting how it's tied to ancient Egypt, like say like a Ra, yeah. Now there's a lot of reptilian stuff there too, like like cobras, like cobra statues and such. Kind of scary. So I mean, I think that's all definitely tied to Lucifer. I don't think there's really any doubt, but I think those Nordic aliens are tied to Lucifer as well. I don't think there's any doubt. Interesting how they put like Rephaims or whatever in the Cryptoid, but yeah, I mean it's a Rephaim giant, or like a Nephilim, same thing. Northwest Semitic term Rephait or Rephaim refers to either people of greater than average height and stature in Deuteronomy. Yeah, Deuteronomy, that's the Bible. That isn't some little myth book. Nope, that's the Bible. It's fascinating. Yep, it is. All this stuff is real, folks. All of the stuff is real. It's not right up in your face like it may have been at some time to some of these other ancient civilizations. But, well, it will be like the days of Noah. I'm sure there's creatures with this corrupted DNA that are on this planet right now, and they're doing their best to, corrupt us as well. And again, that's the biggest reason for the flood in the first place, was all this crazy stuff going on long ago with the, like I talked about Genesis 6 and the fallen angels and the Watchers and all that. So the Mount Hermon event. And of course, it's a topic that's going to be on this show forever. One way or another, we're going to talk about it. Not every episode, of course. Well, there it is, the big three. What do you think? Nordic aliens, I mean, does it not sound obvious to you that that sounds like a fallen angel? So that's kind of the way I look at it. And remember the golden-haired giants, when in the Nazca Lines episode number 7 of Mysterious Adventures. It's like, again, it sounds like things like that. Golden-haired giants sounds like it could be fallen angels, and how they were like gods and all of that. So I don't know. It just continues to happen. It's something that's been going on apparently for thousands of years. If you're talking about going back to the Nazca Lines and such, and like not long after the Great Flood, like they even knew about the Great Flood in the history with the Incas and such. So just think about all of that. So a lot of this all kind of ties together, doesn't it? Yep. And I hope it doesn't seem repetitive to you, but the whole point is to not be deceived. And that's kind of what Mysterious Adventures is here. Well, not just for that, but at the same time, yeah, it is good to kind of plant seeds in people to not be deceived by evil forces out there and such. And also, again, to talk about interesting subjects. So, and you're more than welcome to bring up ideas. I have a list of ideas written down and kind of written down electronically, you could say, and just to kind of, it's a list of things to potentially get to, but of course there's spur of moment things that do pop up, like that pyramid episode, which is still by far the number one episode of Mysterious Adventures thus far, as it was a fascinating discovery that was taking place, obviously, with the Great Pyramids in Egypt, that there's a lot more than meets the eye. And we're not talking about Transformers. We're not talking about giant robots on a cool 80s cartoon or anything like that. It's definitely more than meets the eye, to say the least. So, and I think it's similar with these different alien abductions and such. And eventually, we'll probably get into Bigfoot as well. Like I've said in the past, you're more than welcome to interact with this show. Probably going to be getting a YouTube channel. In fact, the YouTube channel has been created, but it's kind of sitting there. It's brand new. And when a YouTube channel is brand new, it's hard to kind of get the blood flowing right away. You know what I mean? So to kind of, how they want you to prove who you are, or prove that it's like, prove that you're real and all that kind of stuff. So it takes a little time, in fact. So there is a bit of that. But we could be expanding things a bit some more with Mysterious Adventures onto its own YouTube channel. I'm going to put the link, as long as I remember, into the show description. It should be at Mysterious Adventures 79, at Mysterious Adventures 79 on YouTube. So if you want to subscribe to it, if you can even see it, I hope you can, but you know how that goes. Again, like sometimes you create a new channel and it might not be viewable yet. So with that, I apologize if it's not viewable yet, but at least at the time of early May 2025, maybe you're listening to this at the future on a future date. So there's always that possibility. But I hope you enjoyed this episode, and we'll come up with some new topics. This obviously was a topic that needed to get out there, and obviously this episode absolutely needed to reach its target audience, and hopefully it will with this particular episode. Episode 8 of Mysterious Adventures. Again, apologize for the delay with the release of this episode. Just busy, had a lot going on. That might be why I might seem a little disoriented as I'm recording the intro and outro of this episode. Kind of tired, kind of beat up, kind of, it is what it is. It's nice to get outdoors and work, but, so, you get tired. You're out in the elements. You've been working your butt off and all of that. And no, I've not been drinking or anything like that, so it's nothing like that. I'm not going to be like getting all sloshy and do a podcast. No, I don't really believe in getting sloshy to begin with. But it is what it is. With all that said, again, hope you enjoyed this episode. Hope it planted some seeds and helped you understand things a little bit better. That's kind of, again, the goal of this particular episode. And if you'd like to interact with the show, again, all the different ways to get involved with the show, or just have a conversation or interact with me one way or another, are in the show description. You have the Instagram, you have the Twitter account, the Facebook page. All the links should be there. And if you need help, let me know one way or another. PaladinoLive@yahoo.com, PaladinoLive@yahoo.com. And if that doesn't work, oh boy, then I deeply apologize. But it should. It should. Sometimes that email account has been a little bit funky, so I do apologize for that, to say the least. But I think I've babbled enough, and again, I just want to say thank you so much for listening to the show. Please continue to tell your friends, and if the YouTube page works, that's great, and we'll probably have some interesting little tidbits to open things out, maybe short videos and such, to kind of look at some of the mounds around the area, what I think could be burial mounds of either giants, Native Americans, or both. Oftentimes it's both, which can get really fascinating at times. So yeah, probably start off with some of that to kind of, again, prove that this is a real YouTube account. It's not just somebody creating a page just to screw around and bother people or whatever, this or that. So that's definitely not the point of my Mysterious Adventure 79 on YouTube. With all of that said, thank you so much for listening. God bless you, and we'll talk to you. Joining me on the next adventure.